Turnkey has selected ImageTag as a key partner for business process automation and document management that integrates directly with your ERP system. I'll now turn it over to Sean Fitzgerald, who will introduce the company and the KwikTag solution. Then we'll hear from Rhonda about their use of the system, and don't forget to stick around for the Q&A before we close.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate that. And good afternoon, everyone. This is Sean Fitzgerald, as I was just introduced. So with the spotlight on me, no pressure there. Boy, when you said that, I was like, wow, they're putting the spotlight on us. So no, we love it. Been working with Turnkey for many, many years with Michelle and the whole group over there, and Chris and everybody. So it is absolutely our pleasure to be with you here today. And for everybody that's joined from the Turnkey family, we thank you guys for making available your time, and we promise to make a very, very good use of it today. We do value that. So looking at the first slide that I have here, and we're going to go through some slides, but don't worry, we're also going to jump into the product and see, really see the KwikTag system in action too. But yeah, this is a nice fancy little cover slide, and right across the top there it says one system, any department, any process, any document, KwikTag. And yeah, maybe that's a marketing meme, if you will, or something you'll see on our website, but don't just let's not just put it to that. It truly is the brand differentiator for us. The ones we call around here the one system message. And I may not touch on that too much more during this, so I want to make sure that you guys hear that here. What we're saying here is that KwikTag is an enterprise-wide document management solution, something that can be used across the whole entire organization. Now, we're focusing today's conversation on once we really kind of get into it and navigate into it, we're going to be focusing on AP and looking at invoices, but this is a system that can be used across the whole organization. Yep. Several solutions inside of Dynamics GP, that's where we'll focus today, but even outside of GP, as it says there, any department, any process, any document. If there's a document and a process that needs improvement, KwikTag can play a part in that. Okay, so I want to make sure that you guys hear that message loud and clear as we go through today. So real quick, background on us. So about 17, 18 years into it now, founded in 1997. We have 9 U.S. patents on the product you're going to see today. I'm in just almost at my 5-year anniversary here at KwikTag, and we used to have 6 when I started. So we've added some, one of them just recently. So I mentioned that to let you know that, hey, solid track record, been around a long time, but we continue to innovate and add to the product. This is not a stale product whatsoever. This is leading edge, cutting edge in the business process automation industry within the Dynamics community. We're out here in Tempe, Arizona, so if anybody is, any of you folks there in St. Louis, which by the way is my hometown, or around the area, around the Midwest, and it's you end up implementing this and want to have some wintertime training down in Tempe, Arizona, come on down. But we started in document imaging, and what we mean when we say that is when we first came out in 1997, this was what we call today a capture-only solution. And it kind of stood alone in that it wasn't integrated into any accounting systems, and it was a great, go paperless solution, right? Upload your documents, search, retrieve, and find them, and that's where we kind of got our start. But very soon we moved in to become a Dynamics partner. We were asked to integrate to GP in 2004, and that began our relationship with Microsoft Dynamics. So GP is what we've been doing the longest. Since then, we've expanded those integrations to include all of the ERP systems in the Dynamics family, so AX, NAV, and SL as well. But GP is what we've been doing the longest and really where we got our start. It's what we're the best at, quite frankly. And then a few years after that, we added workflow automation, so business process automation, right? North of 120,000 KwikTag users worldwide. We have international clients too, so if you have international locations, we can handle that. And then that last little bullet point, if I've lost your attention already, hopefully not, but don't miss that last little bullet point there at the bottom, 98% customer retention rate. To me, that's where it kind of all comes down to. That's where the rubber meets the road, as far as I'm concerned. 98% of our clients keep KwikTag year after year, and for me, that's a very high percentage in the software industry, and for me that says we are providing the value that we promised and really delivering for our clients. People often ask me, are there certain industries or segments, verticals that KwikTag plays well in, and I say, yeah, only companies that have paper, right? So kind of everybody, you know, do you have documents? Of course, most of them have a process around them. A lot of them you're trying to store, so we can improve those for, you know, regardless of what industry that you're in. If you have more than one location, that's usually a big trigger for, you know, processes getting bogged down. So we can help you there. But as you see here, of course, CCA Global Partners up there in the top left-hand. Some sports teams there amongst, but you know, really anybody that has you know, too much paper, needs to store it efficiently and find it easy, and has processes that need to improve, we can help with. And so the most common reasons, and my guess is that amongst these 6 or 7 reasons I'm about to give you, you're going to hit on at least one, probably several. Some of you maybe all of them. Okay, in terms of what brought you here, what's going on in your organization, why might you need this solution? Well, first of all, are you spending a lot of time looking for documents, right? Or, you know, even when it comes in the front end, to first of all filing them, right, and then after that looking for them. You may know that answer already real quick. If you got a question mark in your head about that, stop and think about it, and chances are you probably are spending a lot of time looking for documents, even if they're trapped in email, right? A lot of us just use email. We go to our deleteds or a massive inbox, however you might run your Outlook. But even if you keep it, you know, electronic, right? It's hard. The story I hear is that, you know, we keep, I'm talking to accounting people, we keep the first couple of years close at hand, right? In my office or in the hallway, and if it gets a year or 2 old, it goes to a storage room, and then after that, a couple of years later, to a storage unit or paid for offsite storage. All that is very time-consuming in terms of having to find those documents. Now, in the meantime, you're probably taking up a lot of office space. We have, and you'll hear some of that from our folks at CCA about how they were able to free up space. I'll tell you about the number of filing cabinets they were able to get rid of. But that's serious, and depending on where you're at, it can be more serious than not. We have clients that are in, you know, downtown New York and Manhattan, Chicago, some of these big cities where real estate is very, office space is very, very pricey. But even if it's not, and you have the space, should you be using it to, you know, be cluttered up with filing cabinets? I had a prospect tell me recently they just bought 4 filing cabinets, the lateral filing cabinets, and they spent over $3,500. These were the big 4-drawer high. So there's not only the office space, but there's money invested in the storage from that perspective as well. If we start talking about business processes, right? If we start talking about, okay, we've stored the document, we've spent all this time looking for it, it's taken up space, but now this document, we're going to talk about invoices today. This invoice has to route through my organization, right? People have to see it for review and approval. How efficient is that, right? Manual processes are very inefficient. Even if they're run well, they can be more efficient, right? Things get lost, things get bogged down. We have no record of an invoice when it's manual and it comes in, right? If we're waiting for the approval before we put it into the accounting system, a lot of times we have no record of that on the front end of it. We have no we don't know where it is, right? We put it on somebody's desk. We thought they were gone to lunch. Turns out they're out for the day, the week. They got it. No, I didn't. It never came back, right? Things like that. So bottlenecks in processes. How about visibility? Like I said, a lot of clients that come to me say, you know what? Well, we get the invoice in, and then I send it off, but I haven't logged that anywhere. I don't know, right? I can't see it. A lot of times they don't find out about invoices until the vendor calls and says, hey, what's going on? This thing's 60 days late. And they didn't even know about it, right? So they didn't know the invoice was out there to get it paid. How do you accrue for that? There's issues there. So all that can be solved if we can capture that document on the front end and create an automated business process for it, right? Maybe you're growing. Hopefully you are. A lot of people we talk to these days are that's what they're faced with, is great growth in their company. They call me and they say, well, we're either going to have to add a 3rd person in this department, or we're going to have to automate. And that's a really easy solution, right? That's the easiest, because there's a ton of reasons to automate, even if you're not there. But if you are at that point, it's a no-brainer. So keeping up with growth, and then also how about compliance? You know, depending on what industry you're in, you may have some very heavy, serious compliance issues going on. And so how do you deal with those, right? How do you get all your hands around this documentation? Do you have what's supposed to be on hand before you sell this product or put this person in the field, whatever the case may be, right? Are you being compliant from that perspective? And then, of course, for audits, right, and things like that. Are you passing your audits? We had a client tell us recently that as part of their audit, they had a HIPAA audit as well, and QwikTag was a part of them passing that with flying colors because they had all their documents securely stored in the right places and things like that. So these are some of the most common reasons we hear about. And then we're all about life hacking. If you never heard about that, that's about making your business life and your personal life easier and simpler, and giving you some of your time and your life and the peace back in your life. So we love to provide that for people too. Now, manual processes. Here's some industry study numbers, and I don't know if you're like me. You read these things, and sometimes you can maybe turn a little bit of a skeptical eye and think, really, is it really that high? But gosh, even if you cut some of these in half, right? These are incredible numbers. So a typical employee spends 30 to 40% of their time looking for information locked in email and filing cabinets. Yeah, I can believe that, right? Pre-QwikTag, when I worked at a company that didn't have a document management system, I can think of the times that I spent, even going through email, right? So think about that, and if, depending on how many employees you have that are, I don't know, what we'll call knowledge workers, office workers, people that would be inclined to that, times that many people, and think about how much time you're spending. If the document's lost, right? It can reach up to $120 per document, right? If they have to go to the next step to replace it, so they have to go to the source of the document and go through the process of sending me another one, it adds more time and expense to it, so it can shoot up to $220. Did you know that, again, according to Internet Trends, 44% of invoices arrive as electronic documents? Right? Nice. And that's about right. I ask people all the time, how many of your invoices do you get via email? And I usually hear right around half. And then you know what happens? Almost 60% of those documents get printed out. That's crazy. That you're creating paper and causing the problem. Paper causes expense and issues, as we just got done talking about. So even though we've partially automated some of this manual process, we're still creating more problems by printing the documents out. So put all the factors together, these and many more, and the Gartner Group tells us that between 7 and 12% of a company's total revenues are spent on documents, so document management, document retrieval, lost document recovery, and there's more to look into that. But so again, put those numbers up against your revenues, and again, even cut them in half, right? It's still a significant amount of money that we're spending on documents, inefficient document processes. So QwikTag is, kind of here to help, is definitely here to help you with all that. And if we break this down into really three simple steps into what we're talking about, what can the QwikTag solution do for me? We break it down into three things: capture, automate, and then integrate. So capturing the documents is the term we talk about for just getting the document into the system, getting our hands on it, right? Whether it's into QwikTag, in our conversation today, GP, whatever it takes. How do we get a hold of it, right? 14 different methods we have for bringing documents into QwikTag. So really, there isn't kind of any place, anywhere, any format that you have the document in that we can't get it into QwikTag. All right. Once we have it, and then let's automate the trail too, right? Let's automate the processing of this document. Let's do the indexing, as it says there, so the data entry about it. Let's automate that through optical character recognition, OCR technology that we have, right? Let's eliminate the data entry for you on the front end. Let's then electronically route it for review to people, where people are just clicking buttons, right? Whether in an email or in the system itself, they're getting it on their mobile device, whether it be their phone, their tablet, whatever. Let's really automate that process, right? Let's give people access to those documents after the fact, from any time, anywhere. So automation is key for that after we have a hold of the document. And then when we're done with that, let's integrate into the ERP solution, right? Let's push this right into GP and automatically create again, in my example today, invoices inside of QwikTag. So capture, automate processes, and integrate with your accounting solution. That's the 3 key steps in what we do for you with KwikTag. With a standard, out-of-the-box, kind of just regular vanilla implementation of KwikTag, we are embedded at 79 different GP forms. So my example here, the invoice form, so the payable transaction entry screen in GP, the form. As you see, we come alive off the additional menu there. Now it's across those 9 different modules there in the list. You might not have them all up and running. Maybe HR and payroll you don't have, but where you do, we'll be there, and over 79 forms. So that's just standard out of the box, and we can integrate to others too, if you need us to. Okay, so I'm going to pause there for a second in talking about KwikTag, and I want to bring in our good friends from CCA Global Partners. And on the call, we have two folks joining us. We have Amy Schwent, who is our Director of Financial Analyst, and also Rhonda Kasinger, who's an accounting manager. And so, ladies, if you're ready, I'm going to hand this one over to you, let you guys do a little introduction, and then we'll talk about what you guys, some of your challenges that you were dealing with after that.
Okay, thank you. CCA Global Partners is a St. Louis, founded here in St. Louis for local retailers that we have a cooperative business model, basically provide services to our stores throughout the United States and Canada. The CCA members are franchisees, and they're engaged in flooring, lighting products, biking, nonprofits, and more. So that's just a little bit about our company and what we do. We service our members.
Yeah, let's just talk through these, kind of make it a little conversational if you want, Amy, and just kind of go through these, fill in the blanks, tell us what were you dealing with beforehand, kind of pre-KwikTag.
Okay, pre-KwikTag, we thought we had a centralized accounts payable department here in St. Louis. We have offices in Canada, we have an office in New Hampshire, and we have an office here in St. Louis. And we have people out in the field. And invoices would come here to get an actual check cut, but they would be going all over the place. So the invoices would be going to the manager who ordered the thing that we're paying for. So if it's sitting on a manager's desk somewhere and they haven't given the okay to pay it, accounts payable never knew it even existed. So there was no visibility there, so that was a challenge, trying to answer vendor calls for something we may not know about. That was one of our challenges as well. But visibility for us was most important. We actually had to add on to our audit an accounts payable portion of the audit so that they can determine if we had any outstanding liabilities, because literally we had no central control of the payables.
Okay, so office space too was an issue. I mentioned that in the front end, right? You guys were able to get rid of some filing cabinets?
Yes. How many filing?
Yes, we rid our office of 10 complete filing cabinets. But in addition to that, because of federal regulations, we had to keep 7 years of payables. So we also warehouse many, many, many boxes of past year payables information. Because we process about 1,300 invoices a month, so you multiply that times 12 months times 7 years. We had a lot of papers that we were holding on to. And KwikTag has enabled us to get rid of the current files that are in our office now, and we'll be able to rid all that space out in the warehouse of those boxes too. And we're really looking forward to that, because it's really a pain when you have to go pull something out of those boxes.
Right? Yeah, I was going to ask about that too, because that you're in the warehouse. I'm sure it always seems like it's either July or December when that happens. But so what's it like now in terms of retrieving documents?
Now it's absolutely wonderful. Everybody can, you're in your accounting system and you can just click on the item and it pulls up the document right there in front of you. Or you can go into KwikTag and you can see who approved it, who touched it, who talked about it, the code. So everything is right there at your fingertips. You don't have to move out of your chair.
And also there's the multi-office situation for us in New Hampshire and Missouri. Our New Hampshire people are not necessarily Great Plains users, but they can now log into KwikTag and see everything that they've approved with their vendors and search and look at documents where they would have had to call St. Louis, have us scan it and email it to them to see that before. They now have that visibility as well.
Yeah, that's key. And then this is just, we're going to spend most of the rest of this time talking about a workflow solution, business process automation. But sometimes and that's fun and cool, and people love that, but we forget this, what we just talked about, which is kind of the basics of document management, which is, the retrieval and going to get it and finding it and all the back and forth. And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the other office, because it only takes one, and that office can be across the street, and it's a problem for getting documents back and forth, let alone across the country. So.
Right. Even within our St. Louis office, we have 5 different divisions within the office. So invoices going to the marketing or buying desk of those 5 different divisions. Even within our one building, we have the same issue. It just
right.
So it even tremendously helped just the one office location. But when you add a multiple office situation, it was even more valuable.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at what you guys are doing today then with KwikTag.
Okay, so now we've always had 2 people in accounts payable, but now what those 2 people are doing is a little different. So the invoice is received in the mail or electronically. A lot of them electronically, and they're just emailed to KwikTag. They're never printed at all. The invoices we do get in the mail are scanned. The others are sent to KwikTag. KwikTag already has them stored. Rhonda and I, as the managers of the department, can see at all times what's waiting for someone's approval, because it was our AP staff then indexes it out to the appropriate manager for approval, and we can see even if there's still bottlenecks of people who haven't approved it yet, we can see where that might be.
Nudge them along a little bit.
Nudge them along, where before we never even knew that they would have had a stack of invoices on their desk. Now we have visibility into who might not be approving something. So everything is held into KwikTag, into ERP, and everything is accessible by not only the managers, but by the accountants and the auditors.
Okay, great. So you kind of already touched on these in that part right there, but in terms of company-wide productivity, I know we talked previously about this. Like you just said, yeah, AP still is doing plenty of work. It's made it easier for them, but there's still plenty to do. But you made a comment earlier about the rest of the folks that are involved in this process around the company. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. While we might not have gained personnel efficiency in accounts payable, we have across the 250 employees of the company, we feel like we have gained a more efficient system that they are happy about. They also don't have an invoice here and an invoice there somewhere on their desk. They now have a system that shows every invoice waiting for their approval, and they know what's waiting for them. And if they don't want to approve it yet, it will stay in their inbox until they're ready to do so. So they have an inbox, everything waiting for their approval. They love it. We love it because we have the visibility. It is all automated. They see the actual invoice. They see the actual trail of the invoice of who has seen it before them or where it stands. So there's just a visibility and the adoption by the company that has really been the efficiency for us.
Are those approvers getting email reminders?
They are.
Have you turned the...
and we were able to, choose.
Are they getting it? Yeah, are they getting the NAG email?
Yeah, but we did 10 days and 30 days. We don't nag them too often.
Okay.
But we kind of monitor the box to see we know who our offenders are, and we'll call them and have them get a nagging email all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so the NAG email I'm talking about, everybody, is they get, the email, the approval lands in their KwikTag work queue, but they also get it via email, and they get that reminder email, hey, approve this, and they can click on it and approve it right there. But then we can remind them with the NAG email. Now, you guys are very generous if you're setting it to 10 days. A lot of people send it to 3 and move people. But like you said, you know who the offenders are, and you can log in at any time and see where that is in the process and who it's stuck with and whose queue it's sitting in. So that's got to be very helpful too.
Correct.
Okay, well, thanks, Amy and Rhonda. Appreciate it. We're going to I'm going to jump into the demo now. They're going to stick around for Q&A at the end. So we are going to try and leave at least 5, hopefully maybe 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more time than that for Q&A. So if you have any questions, you have a chat box there on GoToMeeting. Please use that to submit questions at any time. And I think it's Kayla from Turnkey who's monitoring that, and when we get to the questions part, she'll throw out the questions for us. Okay, so we should be looking at the KwikTag system right now. If we're not, somebody tell me, but that's what I just transitioned to. So yeah, so I took care of the login for you guys. KwikTag is it's a server-based solution, so you're going to own this. It's going to reside. People usually install it right where GP is. So if that's under your own, in your own office, great. If you host with somebody else, great. Well, you typically put it there. But you're going to own KwikTag, right? You're going to log into it. If you come into the KwikTag solution itself, username and password, just like you'd expect any other kind of solution, right? And there's security around that. So based on how you log in and your profile, you can only see certain things, right? So we got plenty of security all around that. I won't go into that now, but of course it exists, okay? So remember I said KwikTag is embedded to 79 different screens inside of GP, okay, across 9 different modules. So when we connect KwikTag to GP, it automatically creates a corresponding drawer over in KwikTag. That's the repository where document lives in KwikTag, a drawer. You upload an invoice to the payable transaction entry screen in GP. It goes in the payable transaction entry drawer over in KwikTag. So that's what you see on the left-hand side, those blue icons, that's all the different drawers. Again, if I go right down to that payable transaction entry drawer, I click on that, and then what will open up down the middle is all the files that are in that drawer, just like you'd expect in any drawer, right? You click on the file, and then you see the image to the right-hand side. So we have this idea of an inline viewer, right? You know, drawer, file, and image. That's the basic layout of KwikTag, okay? Now, this invoice, I think it probably went through workflow. Let's check. Let's see if it has a workflow history. It does. It went through workflow, okay? So I have a time and date stamp of how this came through. This started, got tagged, went into a KwikTag work queue. Sean worked it. It went to Sean, department manager, for approval. He approved it. It went into the ERP system, into GP. We created the invoice in there, and so by Sean. So I was very busy. So you see this. So let's go ahead and create that. Let's do that again. Let's show you how we made that happen. Okay. So I'm going to jump into my work queue now, and a work queue, of course, is a repository where documents live when they are in a workflow process. So you can see I have some receipts. We're going to talk about those later. I have some invoices. So if I click on my invoices right here, again, just like you see how KwikTag has the inline thing, right? You click on it, and you see the document on the right-hand side, okay? So let's take this one here from Advanced Office Systems. Now, I'm going to enter the data about this manually. I'm going to put it in myself, okay? We have Zonal OCR solution, which pulls all the necessary data off this document as it comes in and loads it into KwikTag for you, so you don't have to. We make that optional, and we can take a look at the cost on that and determine the ROI and see if it's warranted for your solution. One thing you'll find in working with us, we're very consultative. We're very much about you only getting what you need. Not everybody needs Zonal OCR. If you do and the ROI is there, we'll tell you and we'll suggest it. Okay, so the document comes in. I'm going to enter. Now, this is information you would normally enter in GP. I'm going to enter it here in KwikTag as step 1. We call this the indexing phase. So I'm an indexer right now. So I'm going to put the information in for this. I'm going to send it to the approver, department manager. They're going to approve it, and then we're going to push it into GP. That's the 3 steps: index, approve, and then integrate. All right, those are the 3 things we're going to do right now. So I'm going to go through this kind of quick. We can get into more information on how this all happens when we do a demo with you one-on-one. But basically, I'm just going to put in the information here. I'm going to call this TTI. This would be your invoice number, but I'll call it TTI for Turnkey Technologies, Inc. With today's date. This would be my invoice number. I can't use the same one over here because I've used it before, and we'll kick it out. We do a dupe check for you so you don't do that. Invoice, purchase amount, $5,000. GLs, I can code it here, I can code it later. A manager can code it if they want. I hit the magnifying glass. Here's my defaults that I already have spun up on the vendor or defined on the vendor card in GP, so it's picking those up. If I don't have those or if they don't work, I go to View All, and the whole thing is the whole GL, my GLs, what am I trying to say? My GL distribution codes are right there from GP. So that's the whole list. I can scroll through that if I want to. I can filter on it as needed, get right down and add one, okay? So lots of more manipulation you can do here. You can add your own codes automatically. You can come over here and adjust the amount if you need to, you know, start to allocate this across multiple lines. So there's lots that we can do here. Again, I'll keep it kind of high level right now, but I have this coded with the standard defaults. I hit submit and it drops those in. So I'm choosing to go ahead and GL code it here in the first step, okay? I could leave this to my manager. I'll put in some comments and hit submit, and that's it. Takes it out of my work queue and serves up the document in line, okay? Now that took me about 3 to 4 times longer than it usually does because I was explaining it to you, but as you can see, very easy to go through this, you know, very, very quickly. Okay, just kind of tab through things and get them in. Now, I've workflowed it, and it's automatically. This is what we call a predefined workflow. So the rules on who this goes to were predefined. We wrote that into the solution. That's something we'll do for you. I'm just showing you one flavor of it, right? There's as many flavors as there are companies that we work with. Everybody does things a little different. So we're going to configure this to exactly how you need it. Don't think, well, on the demo you did it this way, and so that doesn't work for me. No, we will build this to exactly how you need it. But I got to show you something. So this is what so that's predefined. We're going to route that for review and approval, and it automatically there's our email notification already popping up. We'll look at that in a second. But this is over in, this went to Sean, Department Manager now, okay? So I'm going to click over here on this tab. See, I'm logged in as Sean, top right-hand corner, a little tiny print. I'm going to click on this tab, and now I'm Sean, Department Manager. Let's click into that work queue, and we'll have our invoice waiting for us for approval. It's going to be this one right here. So a couple things I can do. I can do it from here or, of course, from email. We'll look at both. So I'll come into my work queue, and here is our invoice for approval. So you can see the document number, TTI 322. That's ours. So if I'm good to go with this, I look at the information on the left. I look at the document on the right. If I want to approve it, of course, I just click Approve. Takes it out of my work queue, and we're done. Remember, I said we're doing 2 things here. We're doing indexing, which we already did. That was approval, and then we're going to integrate it. So that one's done, and it's going to be over in GP waiting for us. It's that simple, okay? Now, of course, I can reject it if I want to, throw in some comments, let them know why I'm rejecting it. I can delegate it if you want to turn those on, which means, nope, this one doesn't come to me. I want to send it to Peter, so I can reassign. I can delegate the approval of this to somebody else with some comments as to why, right? You have that option, so I can approve, reject, delegate, but I need to take action on this. Now, CCA is very generous in giving folks 10 days to take care of things, but day 1, right, they're going to get this email. They're going to get an email that has 2 flavors to it. Here's one flavor. It comes along, first of all, the invoice is always attached. You always have that, and you can see that, so if I need to review it, I can take a look. I have the information about it, right, how it's been coded, the GLs are there, and all the other pertinent information. And then this one is set up for to work from a mobile device because it's telling me that I have to hit reply and type in the word approve, okay? So that'll work from any mobile device, okay? Hit send, we read that email, we'll find that word approve and process it just as though you had approved it from your work queue, okay? Now, if you're going to be working on it from inside of the KwikTag, inside your company network, I should say, okay, then it's going to look like this. That's what I'm looking for. It's going to look like this, the exact same way, but look at down here, approve and reject. These are hot links, right? I click approve, I hit delete, and I go back to work because in my example here, I'm at the office, sit behind the company firewall, behind your own security. I can connect straight to QwikTag, so that link is hot, right? But if I'm on my mobile device, then I'm doing the other one where you got to type in the word approve. Okay, more on that later. So that's it. Approve, reject, delegate, push it into GP. So let's jump into GP. We're in the purchasing module. I come to the payable transaction entry screen. QwikTag, as I said earlier, comes alive off the additional menu. Tag document, view document, search. This all happens on about day 3 of implementation. It's right there, ready to use. But our work queue, let's look at our work queue. So that was our QwikTag work queue. This is our GP work queue. So what I see here is I have all these invoices, and by purchase orders at the top, invoices at the bottom. All these invoices are approved and waiting for me to push into GP. There's ours. You can see the document number, TTI 322. So what I know, now this is going to be an AP person, right? Whoever does your invoice entry today in GP, this is likely going to be their step in the process. And what that person knows is, hey, all of these 3, 6, 7 or so different invoices have been approved. I know that. So if I just want to go ahead and create the invoice, I can do that. I'll click Create. It'll ask me to assign it to a batch, a payables batch. So if I've determined, now, by the way, I can look at some of the information on this invoice, first of all, if I want to. Okay. I can also actually view the actual invoice if need. I don't need to do any of this, but I can if I want to. I can view the document. Okay. And if I determine that more than one of these goes into goes to the same payables batch, I can choose whatever configuration of these that I want to. I can move 110 at one time if I need to. Okay. I'll just pick ours, that one right there. I'll hit Create. Again, it's going to say, okay, what batch do you want to assign it to? Here's all your open batches. I'll do the SAF batch because it's the best. And I'm going to move this into the system. Now, I'm going to hit yes, and you'll see it disappear. Gone. Went right into the system. Okay, so now it is a payable transaction entry. I could have named my own batch on the fly, and there's a couple other options, but let's go in there and take a look at that. We'll bring up the SAF batch. Navigate down here. It's going to be this one, and there it is. You can see the document number on the right, TTI 32216. So that's ours. Pushed it all in, right? Gave it a voucher information is all in there. It gave it signed it to the right batch, SAF batch, the best batch. Gave it the document date, $5,000 distributions, everything, right? All right there. And then, of course, when I go additional view documents, I can see the actual invoice forever and always attached here to this transaction. Okay? So that's, I mean, we made that simple. We made that arguably one person indexing, one person approving. You can have as many people participating in that. Most people have a 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 tiered approval process. That's fine. We can configure all that to whatever you need. But that's how we move it through a QwikTag workflow and push it into GP and automatically create it. Now, we kept it simple with working on non-PO invoices. We can do the same. We just similar functionality for purchase orders and two-way, three-way match. We don't have that time to go and do it here today, but know that whatever you guys are using, we can meet those needs. Now, in terms of uploading documents, again, we're at 79 screens, so any of those screens you can do what I'm about to show you, and that's uploading a document, right? I just there's other places in GP where you have documents, of course, and you need to store them. So I just come in here and I hit the tag document function off the additional menu, right? I'm going to tag, that's what we call it, uploading a document, tagging a document. So if I want to bring in a sales order, okay, that I have, I just browse out, go get it, sitting over here on my wherever, right? If it's a soft copy document, I already have it, soft copy. Here's my sales order, double click, and this is saying, hey, we're going to attach this here. Is that what you want to do? Yes. So now I have the invoice and the sales order I got from the vendor 3 weeks ago, right? If I want to go ahead and bring in, let's say, that email approval that I got, right? You can drag and drop. I can drag and drop a document from anywhere, from my desktop or wherever I need to, but it works really well from your inbox. I can take this email, drag it right over, and it says, we're going to send it here. I can say, yep. So I can drag and drop, and I can save emails right into KwikTag too, okay? And then paper, okay? And I can, of course, just take a, let's say I have a packing slip. These were goods received, and I got a receiving document of some kind. That's, if I have a piece of paper in my hand, what I do is I just, and I keep putting comments in, that's just, you don't have to, it's optional, but once I click OK, this box will disappear, okay? And what's going to happen is it's going to create a reservation with this barcode, which corresponds to this 9-digit number right above it in that box, right? 062-137-057. Now, I'll go into more detail in this in a one-on-one demo I do with you, but what I have is I have a KwikTags on my desk, physical, pre-printed barcode labels, tiny little labels with that barcode on it and that 9-digit number, and I put it on my packing slip. I hit OK, and I'm done. I do that all day long. End of the day, I take all my to-be scanned documents, scan them into KwikTag, and KwikTag sends them right where they need to go. And I'll, like I said, on a follow-up demo, I'll tell you more how that works. But it's really, that part is almost like magic. It really is a very, very efficient solution, especially if you're dealing with lots of hard copy documents that need to get in very efficiently. You can get into a batch mode with that. You know, you can scan in hundreds of documents at once. Okay, so now when I go additional view documents, we'll see all 4 of those documents that we put in are attached right here. I have my invoice, my sales order, my email, right? I can open all these up and take a look at them. And there's that reservation. So we call it a reservation. It's that piece of paper on my desk with that tag number on it. When I scan it in, KwikTag will sync it up and put it here. Okay. I can search for documents right from inside of KwikTag, right? Based on all kinds of different criteria that was entered into GP, but more funner is information that is on the actual document. Let's say I want to do a document content search, and I'm looking for something with the name, you know, Will Staggle on it, right? I know Will called me. He's looking for this invoice because he loses everything. I don't have to get up and run to the filing cabinet or the storage unit or the wherever this is, right? I can come in here and look for documents with Will's name on them, and KwikTag will return those. It may not have done my search correctly, but it'll go and it'll look, and it's looking into every drawer, and it'll return results on drawers that I have permission to see. Okay. And so it's only going to give me back results. You know, so within a drawer that I don't have security access to, then it's going to it's not going to give it as a result. Okay. And hey, this is what happens to you when you do a live demo. Sometimes it doesn't quite work like it's supposed to. So I did something wrong. I think I wasn't supposed to do it on scan date, and I did. And so it's kind of not working like it's supposed to right now. But where these documents really live is over here in KwikTag. So if we jump back into the drawers, remember I said everything goes into a corresponding drawer. So if we come right back to the payable transaction entry drawer, right, we'll see all of our documents right there. Okay, so here's the invoice. Look at the document number TTI 322. We'll have a workflow history for that one, just like the other one I showed you earlier. Moves it right through. This will be the sales order, right? No workflow history there. Didn't go through a workflow. This will be the email, right? We can open that up and take a look at that. It'll open up and look, this saves it as an email, so it opens it right up as an email. That's the email that got saved there. And then this is our reservation. No image available. That's that packing slip on my desk with the sticker on it. I haven't scanned it in yet. When I do, again, KwikTag will sync it up here. Okay. So those are kind of the basics. The other thing I wanted to show you was that we also do this, and I'm going to keep this real high level because we only have a few minutes left before we get into the question and answer period. But we also do this for expenses as well. Okay, so whether you're using a corporate credit card and the employee, just has to provide all the receipts to sync up with the statement that you have at the end of the month. Or if it's a personal expense that needs to be reimbursed, I spent my own money and I'm going to submit an expense report for reimbursement. Either way, we can do both and we can combine them all. So it really works very much the same way. I'm going to keep this more high level and just kind of walk you through it. But here's a receipt. So this is obviously something that we got from Southwest Wi-Fi, your $8 charge, which I think has gone up since then. But you just forward that in. I got that via email as soon as I from Southwest, and I forwarded it in, and it sits in my work queue. Okay. I can also, if I have what I call a point of sale receipt, right? So here's from something from LaGuardia. I was doing some business travel, waiting in line, right, for them to make my order, and I just clicked on the receipt with my phone, my camera on my phone, attached that to an email, sent it in, and it sits here in my inbox. Okay, so I can compile all these documents waiting for me, and then whenever I want to, I can do this once a day, once a week. I can wait till the end of the month, and when it's time to file my report, I come in here and I enter information on them. Now, don't be too intimidated by all the fields on the left. These are just examples. You can have as many fields to enter or as little information that you want to capture about each one. And I'm not going to go into all kinds of detail on this, but the receipt comes in, you code it, and you submit it. All right? And then when I'm done with all my receipts being submitted, I run the report and it compiles a report for me. Okay? And it sends that report to whoever's supposed to send it to. In this case, it sends them to my boss. Okay, so if we come over here to the department manager, right, and I come into what we call Approval Central, okay, and then we're going to have these reports. So this is my boss, right? This is my boss's experience. I kept all my receipts, put them all in the KwikTag as the month went on. I came in and I coded them, and then I ran a quick report and I compiled them all, and it sent them to my boss. Okay, so here's what that looks like. Now it just creates a simple Excel report. This one only has 2 receipts, I believe. Yeah, it's got an $8 receipt and it's got a $789 receipt. These 2 right here. All right, so it just has 2 of them, and so it compiles a report, sends it to my boss. This is his queue. Now, as you see, this green check, approve, red X, reject. He can approve or reject at the header level, the whole report. Or you can drill down here into the details of this, see each individual receipt, that Wi-Fi receipt, and you can approve or reject that, right? You can go right to that level too and see the receipt. So header level approval or that's fine. Or you can go right into into the line item receipt. Okay, so easy to do that. Now, what does this do? Well, this pushes it right into GP, just like the others, just like Invoices did, and it automatically creates the payable transaction entry in GP. Because if you're like most clients, they set up their employees as vendors, right? So if it's payable to American Express, it'll be payable to American Express if that's your corporate card. If it's payable to a reimbursement to a employee as a vendor, then we'll set it up that way, and it'll go right there. Okay, and you can even combine each one. I can have a report with 3 reimbursable expenses and 3 off my corporate account, for some reason. So you can combine them all into one report. So bottom line is that we call this product Quick Expense. The other one is Quick Payables for AP invoices. This is Quick Expense for expense management as well. So we have both. Okay. Another really cool thing on the expense side, last thing that I'll show you before we go into the question and answers, but I wanted you guys to see this. So let me bring this up. So think about, now I'm going to play the role of the person who is at the end of the process, or end of the month, right? And you need to run you got to pay the American Express report, right? You got to pay the American Express. What am I trying to say? The bill, right? And so you're going to download those into. Let me bring it up here real quick. Having a hard time remembering where it is, to be honest with you. Thought it was right here. Just one sec. No. So this is a way to. There it is. Old age. Okay, so this is the American Express. That's my example, right? So this is your corporate credit card. You went to the website, you downloaded the corporate credit card statement for your entire organization in a CSV file, right? Uploaded it into KwikTag and just drag and drop right here into my my American Express statements drawer. I just took that, I drug it right in, right? It dropped in here, and what KwikTag does, as soon as it drops in here, it comes in as a black and white Excel spreadsheet. KwikTag, it takes about a minute to run this process, maybe 2. It goes out there and it looks for all of the receipts that have been coded in KwikTag. So if I got the invoice in there, or excuse me, if I have my receipt in there and I've coded it, KwikTag will go out and find it, sync it up with this, and it'll turn my line item green. Okay, and it'll say, yeah, Sean submitted that. In my case, I didn't. So down there on line 12 and 13, I have 2 expenses, right? And they're not in. I got 2 for Starbucks, $3.99 and $7.15, and they're not in. So it turned them red. Okay. Now that's great. This gives visibility to back office, the people in AP, to say, look, we're still missing a bunch of receipts. We can't, maybe we're not going to pay the corporate card today because we're missing all these receipts. But here's the really neat thing that it does. It goes out and it generates a receipt, an email, and sends them to everyone. So this is the one I got. And it tells me I'm missing these 2 receipts, $3.99 and $7.15, both from Starbucks. So I have notification right away that I'm missing receipts. This is my prompt to go in, get the receipt in there. Maybe I got the image in there, but I haven't coded it yet, so I got to go code the rest of them. Okay? And so AP can re-upload this document all the time. They can just hit refresh and reprocess it, and that'll hopefully go green, 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 right? More green. This is a great back office solution for this as well. Okay? So lots more, guys. We're just kind of scratching the surface here on what I picked 2 of the most common kind of things that people come to us today and ask us for. Invoices is certainly number 1. Expenses is like this is number 2. But there's so much more that KwikTag can do. Again, any process, any document, anything that you're looking for inside of KwikTag, we can certainly take care of. Okay. So that's it. I'm going to take a drink of water and pause for a second and see if were there any questions that we had submitted, Kayla.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions. It looks like Joe Acosta wanted to know, they use RecLogic for workflow, and they were wondering if the product can integrate with RecLogic approval process.
It can, it does, it did. Okay, so we've been partners with RecLogic for many years, and it's actually RecLogic who wrote the integration to KwikTag, quite a while ago. So yes, we work with RecLogic, and we have clients that use both. You bet. And then what it becomes is, KwikTag becomes the repository on the back end. If you're going to continue to use RecLogic for your, procurement process and even your invoice routing or approval, if you want to go that route with them, you can. And those documents just get all stored ultimately in a KwikTag drawer. And there's more we can do there, but yeah, we're integrated to RecLogic.
Now, does it integrate to project accounting and GP at all?
It will, yes, it does. So current version, no. Next version, yes. And next version is due out in early summer, so May, June at the latest. Yeah, we have a major release an upgrade coming to the product that will that will accommodate for project accounting. So my answer should be really yes, because anybody that, but even if you hung up, called me, and we kicked this off today, by the time we got your project up and running, it would probably be out anyway. So yes.
Can you provide a quick overview over how the system works with 3-way matches like PO, receiver, and invoice?
Yeah, I can, and not in the time that we have left here. We just have a couple of minutes left, so that would be a good, opportunity for them to follow up with me. But first of all, we're at all 3 of those screens. So uploading the document to those screens exists in the product, no problem. You can capture a document. And then the matching and what needs to be done, we find that that's pretty unique to each client. So again, KwikTag can be configured to usually, to meet their needs for that as well. but that'd be that's a much longer. That's going to require demo time and going into, but be happy to follow up on another demo for that.
And now, how long does the implementation of KwikTag take?
So the actual implementation, usually 2 phases. If it depends. Most clients today come to us and they're looking for a solution like this that'll have the workflow included in it, right? Still, some people use it just to capture documents. So phase 1 is we install the system connected to your accounting solution typically, and now you have this capture solution where you can upload documents like I was telling you. That takes about 3 days, literally. And so we'll get that knocked out right away within the first business week that we kick the project off. The workflow takes longer. That takes more time. That takes we've completed those projects in as short as 17 days. A workflow implementation, capture plus workflow in 17 days. That was a fully engaged, fully motivated client who was very responsive and gave us the resources we needed. And I say that because that's how fast we can move. Most projects, because most clients can't do that for us. You guys have day jobs, right? You're running your company. We get that. So things, typically the average, I would say, is about 60 days or so that we usually get these up and running.
Now, how does it handle multi-currency, and would GP know which currency when linking?
That is also a feature along with project accounting that is coming out in our next version. So we don't do multi-currency today. It's in this next release. We're coming out with a version of the client called the GP Professional Client. It's going to handle project accounting and multi-currency, and as well as international tax type things, GST and other things like that. So I don't quite have the answer to that yet, but it's going to be handled in the next version of the product.
Is the pricing model based on user license or based on the number of transactions processed?
User model, user licenses.
And what's the typical ROI time frame?
On average, we see about 6 to 9 months typically, mostly. And we have a great ROI tool that we take our clients through, and it has we plug in their numbers, of course, their cost, their number of users, and everything. And then a lot of those industry averages, some that I showed in the first couple of slides there, we plug those into the various parts of the solution as well. But we get their input. They build it with us. They say, well, wait a minute, I don't think I'd get, a 30% efficiency. I think I might be more like 20 or 15. So we'll put their numbers into it. My point is we want it to be believable. It's not just ours, right? So we will work with them. We have the tool. It's already built. It takes us a few minutes to go through it with our clients. And we'll provide them with that ROI number for them specifically. But I think 6 to 9 months on average is usually what we see.
Does it integrate with Concur T&E add-on?
No, it does not. And I say that, Concur T&E is actually more of a competitor to us than they would be an integration partner. But KwikTag is built with an open API design. You can subscribe to our software development kit, which has all of the code, right? The API calls, if you know what that means, to reach out to any other solution that you might be using and integrate to it, right? And provide some KwikTag functionality to work with that system. That's what RecLogic used to create the integration with us, right? Our software, our SDK, our software development kit. So I say no because we don't have one commercially available, but their clients get a hold of that and integrate KwikTag to other solutions they have all the time.
Do we need to buy new scanners?
No, not at all. 99% of the time, no. It works with, it's really kind of scanner agnostic, as we say. If you want to scan something if you want to put it in your scanner and have it send directly to KwikTag, then it needs to be a network scanner. That's the cleanest, slickest way to do it. No, it just needs to be able to scan in at 300 DPI, which scanners have been doing for years. Black and white, color, either's fine. File formats are PDF or JPEG. TIFF, PDF or TIFF, either one works. So no, 99% of the time additional scanners aren't needed.
How long has KwikTag been around, and how many customers does it currently have?
17 going on 18 years, so 1997 we were founded, and we have over 750 current clients.
And how do you handle customer support?
Customer support is all handled here, so I'll handle right out of Phoenix. We don't offshore or anything like that. So number one, and it's available. It's available not 24/7, 12 hours a day. Okay, so 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which is our time zone, free of charge, right? If you're on a contract with us, then it's free of charge, and unlimited calls, that type of thing. And we get rave reviews for our customer support. If you've ever had crummy customer support from an ISV, you don't let that scare you. Because when I see my clients at the industry events like Envision's coming up or GPUG Summit and different things throughout the year, that's a consistent praise that I get, right? Because they go into our professional services is fantastic, so your project will be managed so professionally. But then it's a few months and I don't hear from you too much and you're using the product, and I'll see it at an industry event and they'll tell me, oh, I had to call customer support, a couple times, and these guys are so great. So we get rave reviews for that. How we doing? I don't want to respect everybody's time, but we hit the top of the hour. I haven't even looked at the clock yet. Yeah, we're running a little bit over, huh?
That's good on questions. We got no more coming in now. Okay,
great. Well, then why don't we, Kayla, if you want to wrap things up, and my information, of course, there is on the screen. If you see it there, my email. Of course, you can contact me, obviously, first and foremost through Turnkey. They know how to get in touch with me. And I thank everybody for your time. And Kayla, if you have anything to wrap up on.
I just also wanted to thank everybody for joining us on this webinar, and we are recording this, so if you do want to come back on this, you can reach out to your account manager and we can forward you over a copy.